Hello everyone, Rufi here for ValueHeavy with another Play and Explain video. This time I thought I'll hop into the 25NL pool, as this is a pool that a lot of my students also play, and it's sometimes you can feel the difference from 10NL to 25NL. The regulars play a little bit better, there's a little bit less crazy action going on, but still a ton of recreationals. So I'll just try and explain my thought process going through that pool. We're gonna take a similar approach to last time, where we're gonna try to play quite aggressive and put those very often tight regulars in a try to put them in a tough spot at least, and of course, you know, play well against the recreational and in standard spots too. So yeah, let's see how that goes. I have two pretty looking hands already. Gonna be three-betting both of them, and yeah, let's see if we can get some interesting spots, some interesting hands going today against hopefully a little bit better opponents, where you maybe don't want to maximally exploit them by just bluffing everything, or yeah, going totally out of line, but still applying a lot of pressure and just assuming that the regulars are usually a bit tight and passive. So first spot here on table 1 against the recreational. Not much info. I mean, our hand is this board would be using a half pot bet on, and our hand is a perfect candidate. So we'll just go ahead and bet this. Mainly, I think betting twice with this hand, and yeah, I think at this point we just have to run it against the recreational here, facing the jam with such a strong hand, and hopefully not drawing. Yeah, I mean, we're flipping. And we get there, so great start to the video. Defending here the queen 8 on the other table. Like, this was an okay hand. There's a bit of an overplay with jacks there, but not horrible. Here without a backdoor, I think we just fold against half pot. Otherwise, we could do something. So it's not a horrible play by him by any means, and obviously we just get it in. This hand, yeah, kind of plays itself, so it's okay. The 5-4 off against two potential recreationals. I think we can open this, and then again here 8-4. Normally 8-5 would be the limit, but we want to push that a little bit and try to just steal more. Really easy way to increase your win rate, increase your red line by a little bit, and the opponents need to punish you by 3-betting more than equilibrium, and most people under 3-bet anyway. So I think I mention this every video. It's a very nice little thing that you can do. Here we have a potential cold 4-bet spot. This guy 3-bet fairly quickly. I assume he's gonna be on the tighter side. This hand is on the edge. I would probably go for a hand like King Queen, or better, or Ace Jack. So I think just not strong enough. Plus the timing tell that we just saw, that he 3-bet really quickly. I think makes his hand a bit stronger. King 6 here fold, and King 5 as well. Let's see, apparently they're still in the hand. I don't see a showdown, unfortunately. Pocket deuces here against 3x. Actually, in theory, these pocket pairs are close to indifferent, especially with this rake. But I guess this guy's a recreational, so don't mind calling a little bit wide, and obviously hitting a set has some more implied odds for me there. Close again on the flop. In theory, this might probably be a fold. In practice, against a wider recreational who displays more like if we were against a button, not against a cutoff, and then I think this hand just does need to defend, because we also have some opportunities like on this turn where we can donk out and bluff our hand. Just go for a small c-bet with the ace 10 on a dry disconnected board, and not the greatest run out, but still definitely going to be bluffing here. It's he makes some 2 pairs, but also his over pairs are going to be a tough spot. I don't think I need to go too large here when the flush completes, making me fold his 1-pair type of hands. And then the ace 10 on a complete break. I think this is also a decent hand to continue firing. Of course, King 10, King Jack would be a bit better. And yeah, like here's a lot of 1-pair hands here that just folds, not a lot of straights, not a lot of sets, and this way you can sometimes river a backdoor. flush, but not too likely. Here we open the king 10 with the recreational in the blind. 10-3 against like a regular, I think. We don't need to overdo it there. King 10 multi-way is now just gonna be a check. Kind of see what they do and start bluffing once this guy checks behind, and we don't see huge dongs here before we're just always gonna start with a range check here, especially on low boards anyway. So this is a bit of a, if we know that they're flatting a lot behind, king 10 becomes closer, but then if they are playing too passive post flop, it becomes fine again. So always a bit of a two-sided edge with those hands opening wider from early position. 10-9 easy defend against the small blind 3-bet. Really good flop for the small blind, obviously. Here the ace-9 could either check or ISO. I think ace-10 plus or ISO ace-9. I'm just gonna check behind. He checks to me on a board where he should range check. I'll just check behind, realize my equity. Could be a trap or could be just face up, having hand like queens, jacks, or ace-queen. But I don't want to bet and get raised with my hand. I really want to see all rivers. Against half pot on a turn, we'll call bluff if he checks to me on the river. Again, I don't want to raise, get 3-bet jammed over, and then have to fold. So I just want to check and realize my equity. And here, versus pot, just folding. And now here we have a really easy game plan. If he checks, we bluff. Our 10 high, we can definitely have a king X. We can have 3s, 5s, 6s. And if he bets, we have an easy fold. We're not doing anything there. Yeah, so again, right, we have to be somewhat careful against recreationals here. They do tend to trap boards like this one. So this is not the spot where I'd say we want to be overly aggressive on, and rather just, you know, this time we only had to pay 1 bet to see all 5 cards, while in practice very often we should face a range bet on the flop, and then very often the bet again on the turn, making it at least we have to pay to see if we hit the flush, and this time we kind of got to see it for free. If we bet, we get raised, and then he shoves it in on the turn. We don't get to see our cards. We lost more money, so nice way to exploit it. Unless we know for sure that he's always weak when he's checking, but against the random unknown, I don't think that's the case. Again, I think a recreational, so just stealing wide. 5-3, just a fold. So yeah, important to know the theory before we just randomly attack any checks, right? Don't read too much in the label. Generally, something green is regular, and something yellowish is no, green is recreational, yellow is recreational. Sorry, yellow is, Jesus Christ, give me a second, guys. So calling here, code 4 being a bit lighter, but again, green are fish recreational, so I want to be a bit wider, and then the yellow ones are usually regulars, but not 100% sure. Here against half pot, this hand is probably called in theory, but I don't mind already folding it without the backdoor against, well, actually not, I think even still calling it. Here we go for a small bet. Yeah, this is close, this is somewhat close there. We take it down with the jacks, which is great outcome here. And here we do call. I think ace queen even without the backdoor. While I was saying it, I think it still has to be a call here, even though the big blind's range is a bit stronger. And on the 5 now, we mainly take this to showdown. We have a lot of weaker overpairs, and hitting down the ace is a bit disguised that we have still a strong top pair hand here. Sure, he's gonna have ace king a lot. And against this bet, I think we just call. I don't think we get called by ace jack, ace 10 that much, and he still has ace king a lot. So I think we just call, even though it might seem a bit nitty. And yeah, we got a bluff this time. That's great. Pocket 4s on this board. We can either go with check or with bet. I don't mind going either way here, really. We have pocket 3s here. Yeah, I don't mind starting out and kind of merge bluffing our hand here. It's close. So here we ISO'd a recreational and get this board. again close between betting or just going for a small small bet or going for a check behind. Gets a little bit dicey. Yeah, I don't mind just going for a small bet here. We fold the king queen off. This guy in the small bet very often just has pocket pairs. Otherwise I would assume he's 3-betting a lot. And then this guy might have a really wide range. I mean, okay, we're running good. But checking back definitely also fine there, especially if we expect him to raise. And now we just keep betting somewhat large after both players called. We basically have the nuts here. I think overbet multi-way would be a bit too much. So I think I just go for a pot size bet here. But I'm really saying I have at least ace king or better here. And yeah, I mean, if they have a top pair hand, they can definitely call. Again, we have a decent amount of perceived bluffs here. And on this river, we're just jamming. I don't think we're really behind. He would need to have 10-8 here, which is quite unlikely. And he can maybe find a hero with a top pair on such a dry run out. Whenever we have a hand that we believe to be the nuts, the best sizing is always going to be all in, unless we for some reason know that he's massively over folding against all in and calling way more against the smaller sizing. But we don't really know that in most cases, at least. So all in always going to be the best sizing if we know pretty certain that we have the best hand. And I don't really see how we can have a better hand there. Hoping for the king queen king jack hero call. Maybe sometimes he has an 8. No, he doesn't really have an 8x here ever, and unfortunately this time we get the fold. But again, that's gonna happen a lot here, and that's gonna be fine. On the times that we get called, we just win so much more, and especially against the recreational, they're not gonna think too much about. Not just gonna think too much about it. They're just gonna probably even call too much here, right? Given how little he's supposed to call there. 3 deuce. Is pushing it with a recreational in the blinds and then a tight looking regular. I don't mind it. Definitely running good this session so far. Let's see if we can keep it that way. And this guy over of a hand, like, yeah, it's a small sample that he didn't 3-bet, so I think 5-3 we can fold if you want to open it and really attack weak regulars. It's fine, depending on how much you want to push it. I think 9-3 suited definitely a bit better. Like 9-5 would be okay. 9-3 is a bit worse, but again, if they don't 3-bet enough, that's fine. This guy maybe is not a regular. Maybe it's not a fish. Maybe it's a regular. Yeah, we go ahead and 3-bet, and we get an interesting flop here. Given that they're so connected, I think we want to start with a small sizing here. We can also play some check back, but I think this hand is a decent bet. I don't think we want to size up here, which we generally do on jack high boards, just because it's so connected. Also, over pairs and top pairs don't want to put in too much money when the runner is going to change a lot. And I think our hand is a decent barrel, especially having the ace of diamonds, not blocking any backdoor draws that could now fold, even though on this board there are not too many of them. I'd expect him to raise his sets and straights a lot on the flop and gonna have a lot of bet calls. So on bricks my plan was to jam this, and now we obviously just check behind, hope to win against the ace jack, ace 10 here sometimes, 10-7 against 3x, unless we know this guy's a big way, it's just gonna be a fold. And here I think we just check behind. It's not great, we're not gonna win too often, but I think ace jacks, ace 10s here are gonna be enough of his range for us to check behind and win. And he's 10-8, so maybe he's a recreational still. But yeah, unlike he wanted to brick and then to jam and get him to fold, which is going to be the plan here. So yeah, let's give him the recreational tag again. Getting 3-bet here is like just going to be a fold, even though he went a bit. Well, his sizing is fine. Not much we can do here. It's like if you play, obviously taking notes that he calls hands like this one, or opens them from MP and then calls 3-bets with those hands. 3-betting here the king 10 against unknown, maybe regular, and then the 8-7 calling against a 3-bet, especially when we're deeper. Yeah, so let's see if we can get some. These hands definitely go up in value given that we're deeper. But on this board, we cannot do much. A hand like 6-5 of hearts could maybe continue against a small sizing. Again, here he should see bet a lot, maybe not range, but I think it's a really decent hand to just check back and realize some equity. Especially when I expect maybe a bit more check raises than normally. And here the ace queen I will 3-bet. Now we have a pair, so we got to realize some equity for free. He goes small, so you can definitely call one. We could consider raising, but we don't really block any relevant 2 pairs. And this here, these stakes, I think you can just fold this, facing a 4, but this is quite close in theory anyway. But I think in practice you can just fold this against most opponents. And now he goes for the bet, and this is interesting now. Can we ever jam, or can we raise this and get caught by worse? We have 6-5, we have sets, he could have definitely trapped. But I think we do still put the money in there. Do we ever raise smaller and fold to re-raise? I actually don't hate that either. What does he have? King, queen that we lose to. King 8, he shouldn't really have kings and queens. Betting small on the turn, maybe kings sometimes. I think we do just go for this here. Hoping he sometimes has like a hand like ace king, ace is low played on flop and down, doesn't get away from it. So he was just bluffing. So again, a really nice example of how people let us realize equity, and we obviously run around a 2 pair. That's great. Jack 6 against 2 potential recreationals. Probably Jack 7 or better at the open and steal there. Um, 6-5. Yeah, well, I mean we were calling then 5-4 as well with the recreational big blind, so we just make some somewhat loose opens. Flooding a lot in the small blind, or flooding a lot in general. Here we'll just start with a check. These low boards we want to do a lot of checking. Now this guy caps himself, and here I don't mind with the backdoor straight down to flush draw. And I think now I will go and bluff this here. The jack is good, it doesn't hit him a lot, and he kept himself by checking back. We can definitely have jack X, we can definitely have all the strong hands still, and backdoor into flush. 10-7 is close, but against the recreation I don't mind it. And now I think I will go for an overbet. I have a lot of king queen, king 10 here with a diamond. I can potentially bluff and take this line. He can have a decent amount of 2 pairs, not too many better flushes other than 8x, like king 8, queen 8. But I think it's fine. He checked back here. And against recreations, I think they would just overfold against like small and then overbet on the river. And he did call with ace 8. That's great. So this pot I think plays quite different to 3-bet pots, where recreationals trap more out of position, and they also this one, where the range is also already strong, and we get to realize more equity. Here by checking we don't necessarily realize more equity, because they can still bet behind, so it's not like we're in position. Here king 3 I will defend against him in, not folding much here, and jack's 3-betting. And facing the very quick 4-bet, I don't hate folding already here. Against tight guys, fairly quick 4-bet, we're pretty deep. Where we're really tight in positions and deep, so I think I don't mind just marking this. So I think here, like to find a 4-bet bluff this quickly at this stack depth takes studying, and I don't think people at this stake study those limits. So if I know he only has queens plus ace king, I don't need to call, even though it's a theory call. And of course if he hit a set it's nice, but that's not going to happen often enough here. Let's see pocket kings. This deep is even close. If we want to 4-bet, we definitely want to mix in some calls once he checks. And also kings on this board, obviously when all the money goes in we're not happy, so we can mix between checking back and betting here. I don't mind either way. Yeah, actually let's mix it, and this time we go for bet. This boards we can bet quite a lot for small sizing. Maybe later positions I would size a bit more. But you can also play big bets on this board, that's definitely fine too. Just depending what strategy you want. It's not like one or the other one is wrong or losing EV. But then, yeah, this board I like the small bet, forces him to defend wider, to raise wider. King 10 against MP 2.5 is actually quite close, and multi-way it is just a fold. A6 will be opening blindly blind. A7 as well from under the gun. Once you start getting deeper with more people, you could start opening a bit larger than the min open from under the gun, maybe 2.5. Here again, low boards, multi-way, I'll just check my range. And I think this guy's gonna give me a lot of tells. Last time he did just snap check, if you guys remember, from the 6-5 hand. And this time he does go for a bet. Definitely kind of sets, but I think with the gut shot and the backdoor flush, I'll call and maybe fold off 8-7 without it. I think there's gonna be a decent amount of runouts where we can bluff him. Like if the card turn cup comes an overcard, like a queen, he's gonna check behind very often with his pocket pairs, and then they can bluff him. And now we do just fold, but I also don't want to overdo it because he can have a lot of sets here. So I want to yeah, I would rather check raise quite strong, and we could actually also mix in some check raises there, but if he bets large multi-way, I don't mind just calling and bluffing once he checks behind. Now here we are a bit deeper, so I'm gonna make this 12 big blinds versus a min open. If we went 2.5, we could have even gone 13 or 14. Once you get deeper than 150 big blinds, sizing up doesn't work that well anymore. Queen 6 will be opening with a weaker player in the blinds, and then a Jack 7. I will defend. Again, this guy was the guy that called a little bit wider versus a 3-bet, so I don't want a 3-bet trashy hands like this one, although they could mix in. And again, we see a check back here. This is a bit more of an extreme example because here he shouldn't check back. This is going to be a range bet board, so I don't want to attack this one. While the queen, jack, export, whatever, definitely can play some jack behinds, and there I think I want to attack more where. So the idea is, if Recreationals check behind, on most boards they're going to be just marginal showdown hands and really weak hands, and not enough strong hands, not enough strong draws. So that's why we can attack more. But if they check back on a range bet board, especially on one that's as obvious as ace, 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 I think it's also quite likely for them to just, or more likely for them to be a trap rather than just be random air, because that's so nice to just c-bet and then take it down on a board like this one. At least that's my logic, backed with a little bit of MDA for spots like this one. To kind of distinguish there between when to attack after Recreationals check back and when to maybe check and try to delay bluff once they check again. Okay, some easy folds there. Let me know if that made sense, and otherwise just let me know in the Discord. 9-6 is close. Guess we can try to steal. This guy seems to be folding a lot so far, but we don't get the chance to. So 25 minutes, we'll do another 10 minutes or so. See if he can get a couple of more interesting spots. Is for open raising, is queen. Like here we, that's something we said about, right? Like open to 2.5x when we're deeper. Deep with the big blind, which is the most important part. not that it makes a big difference. Take 4 opening. Again, right, for the most parts, unless we have a big hand going, as you can see, a lot of it is just trying to collect as much free money as possible, and the more free money you collect, the better it sets you up for when these big spots come, because the big spots are, you know, sure, definitely some edge in those as well, and obviously more money to be made if people make more mistakes. But if you just get it in aces against kings, that's gonna happen for both you and your opponent. But if you collect another 10 big blinds in the meantime, until that cooler happens, or not steal enough like this guy and we get another 10 big blinds that way, yeah, that's obviously gonna make the difference and set you apart. Here, board again where you could bet small or large. In theory, both is fine against the recreational. With yeah, I actually don't mind either way here. Against the recreational, both small and large makes sense. Obviously our hand is good enough to go larger here too, so that's why I eventually went for that. There's also some merit in going small and then letting them bluff too much on later streets. As long as you keep putting in money in the middle with this hand, I think it's fine. Ace queen here, multi-way. Again, main approach on these boards is just checking on ace 8 3. We could have some c-bets, but it's gonna be a hand with more equity here, and this way we just have a very easy fold. This guy doesn't even take 2 seconds to put in a close to pot size bet, which is just, even though it sounds quite funny, right? Like we check to gain some information. Well, we get so much information there by just checking and seeing what he does, that I think it way outperforms considering having any bets here, right? Even with strong hands. We just know now he's strong too, so makes it a whole lot easier for us to play than just going with a random small c-bet against 2 opponent with very little equity. And same guy here, so we're gonna pay attention to the timing tells here against this guy. Goes to a small 3-bet sizing. Now normally queen 8 would call, but against this sizing I think even queen 7 has to call. And we can potentially gain a lot of reads post flop, given his sizings and given his timing tells. This is not necessarily great flop. He goes for a small sizing, which will definitely call. If he bombs the turn, he probably can start folding already. It's going to be quite tough for him to find enough bluffs there. Would rather have a hand like king jack facing another bet here on the turn, especially if he size ups. Love to see the check behind. On the 8, he can have some 9x hands, but I guess we're just mainly hoping he goes check check. Could consider something like a 10% bet given he snap check behind, getting called by like ace jack, king jack, ace 10, those type of hands. And he then snap raises. What 9x does he have? 10-9 suited, ace 9 suited. Where's this guy just clicking buttons? 2 pair that checks behind. Pocket 9s make sense. Kind of tempted to look him up there. Doesn't rep too much. He goes for fairly small raise. Not sure he raises 2 pair here. Sure, if he has 9s, that's fine. But any other hand, maybe like he turns a king jack into bluff, ace 10 into bluff. So gonna be a bit sticky here against this random sizing. He does have the 10-9. Again, the sizing was so small. Not great. We could also just check fold there. I think that's fine too. We have a combo draw. We're just gonna call in position. No need to raise. Yeah, don't mind the folding too. I think it's close. And here again, we'll just call. We don't wanna raise, get it in against better draws. And if he checks us on river, we have an easy bluff. Hopefully we do get there. This time we don't. And now he bets again. I believe we do just fold. although he goes small, but he three barreled after he three-bet from the big blind, which is all fairly strong actions, and we have we blocked the hands that we want to get fold, so we just got to see the river there. Unfortunately, break this time. So yeah, his quick bets here are definitely strong. Think call pre-flop was fine, call flop was fine. You see a jam, 50 big blinds. This guy seems to be the tighter side, so not really the whale that we want to call off against. But let's see if the other guy calls off. 3x open under the gun. I think I still fold, unless I know this guy is super crazy loose. And then again, he did raise quite quickly, so knowing that we can fold, but also seemed a bit random, especially the sizing that was on the smaller side. And then the fact that he doesn't have too many 9x, right? If he's a recreational, like a lot of recreations also just calling 10-9 suited or pocket 9s blindy blind, which leaves him with very little combinations. And this 10% sizing can definitely induce okay, I think we can sit out next big blind with this questionable hand that we had here towards the end. Let me guys know what you think. I guess a standard would be to check, cry, fold. I guess 10-3 suited against a unknown recreational. I don't know why we didn't sit out when we were in the big blind, by the way, but okay. Yeah, close. Don't want to fold many hands here against recreationals in position. Starting with a check here, and then check raising, check calling, and here just folding. Snap checks behind. Going to be always bluffing here. And take it down. Last couple of hands, gonna steal if it folds to me. Wait to jack it off. Not this time. Opening the king queen, calling a 3-bet. Could also consider 4-betting sometimes. Then we just get a fold. Ace 5, opening under the gun. Again, 10-5 gonna be raising blindy blind. And yeah, folding versus a 3-bet. Okay. Yeah, so let me know guys if you enjoyed this video. Let me know if you would have played any hands differently. Definitely check out our Discord servers in case you haven't joined there yet. And yeah, see you next time guys.